welcome back. Today we are filming a very exciting video. I was not planning on filming this week. I was gonna have my roommate pick my books. I'm still gonna have her do that in the future, but I got very exciting book mail today and I just want to read these books for this video. Let me grab the other one. I only put one in front of me. So we have Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. And if you watched my Dramini 101 video that came out a few weeks ago, then you will know that I mentioned some books that are getting traditionally published. This is one of them. And I am so excited. It's loosely based on The Auction. And I know you're not supposed to like promote it as a fan fiction. It is different characters, whatever. But Julie Soto is also loves Bitka 8, who wrote The Auction and the Rights and Wrongs series, which I love. So that's this one. And then we also have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, which is very similar. Actually, maybe not very similar. Based on what I've read, it's quite different. But Bridget Knightley is also It's Self-Care, who wrote Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. And you can see our two main guys on the front. So anyway, these both had the same release day, which is crazy because they are fan fiction authors getting traditionally published, and we're gonna read these this week. This week's video is just gonna be reading fan fiction authors that I love, and it's gonna be great. I think I'm going to start with Rose in Chains. I love Julie Soto. I love her writing. Her other books have been amazing as well. And then we will finish with Bridget Knightley's The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I know both of these are actually in a series. This is like, I believe it's called the Evermore series, and this is the Aurelian series, I believe. So I'm not quite sure how this series is going to be set up, because I am unsure what all is going to be included in this book from the fan fictions, but also like how are they being split up? Anyway, there's a lot of unanswered questions, but to start with, we are going to read Rose in Chains. And I don't even know, like, this is gonna be hopefully amazing. The quote on there's a little thing on the front that said there is a lake with still waters, and I'm screaming. And you can see our little man here, and then so you can see them there. So notice how both of the men have this nice white blonde hair and the women are brunettes. Anywho, I'm very excited about this. This says dark romantic fantasy on the back. The war is over, the dark forces have won, and the hero who was supposed to save them is dead. Okay. Also, it's got these beautiful sprayed edges. I'm gonna take off the dust jacket. And here you can see what the hardback looks like. So we're gonna get into this, and it's gonna be so good. So come along for this video, and if you're interested in the fan fiction side of things, again, go watch my Dramini 101 video, because I talk all things Dramini fan fiction. So I've talked long enough. Let's start.
let it go. You got to let it go. You got to let it go. I'm ready to let go, go. I'm ready to let go. You I'm ready to let go, go. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go.
I'm already obsessed, but I have to go to a work thing, so I will be thinking about it the whole time, and we'll have fun. And I'll just be waiting to come back and start reading again. Okay, team, it's the next day, and I just got to chapter 12, which is the first chapter in part 2. So I finished part 1, we're on to part 2, and so far it's kind of giving like a back and forth situation. So you can see here actually that this chapter says 7 years ago. So in the present tense, Briony is an Everson. She's always, not just in the present tense, she's an Everson, and the other like kingdom that they're at war with are the Bombardi. Jeez, in my head I've been saying Bombardi. I don't know. So Everson, Bomardi. Yeah, Bomardi. And they have like a treaty where the children are schooled every other year, like across. So like 1 year all of the students are in Bomardi, 1 year all the students are in Everson, so that it's like how they keep the peace is like their children are schooled together, and they alternate each year where they are schooled. So that's kind of what we're getting in the past, is them at school. So those are like flashbacks of Briony and her brother Rory. They're twins, and they're like, he's the heir to the throne, so they're the prince and princess basically of the Everson kingdom. And in Emerson they practiced mind magic, whereas in Bombardi they practice heart magic, and there's some subtle differences. They're similar but subtly different, so that's the main difference between the two countries, and that's why there was like a civil war like 100 and something years ago that split the country in half. The continent of Moreland was split in half, and that's when the two different countries were formed, because the people that practiced heart magic and the people that practiced mind magic split. So when we're getting like the past tense, we're seeing them at school, and we're seeing Rory and Briony, and they're like friends. So one of them, I'm like, what's her name? It starts with a C. Cordelia. Cordelia, and then Katerina, or like Katrina. So there's like a few of them. Didion and Sammy. Those are like the main group. So there's like the 3 girls, and then 3 guys are like their main friend group. And then on the other side of it, we have Tobin, who is like the love interest. But Tobin and his like squad, along with Larissa, who is important to note, they're like from Bomardi, so they're from the other country. They practice heart magic, and there's like a rivalry between them, obviously. So we're seeing kind of the formation of the rivalry and the formation of the crush that Brioni has on Tobin. So that's kind of what's happening in the past. Like, if you know anything about the original fan fiction, it's like a unrequited crush situation between Brioni and Tobin. Like, they both kind of like each other, but they don't ever, like, it's a secret. Like, they don't tell anyone. They've never acted on it or anything. And then in the present, it's the very first thing that you see is the Everson losing. So Rory gets killed right away at the very beginning. And basically Brioni and Cordelia and Katrina and a lot of the other like nobles and women, girls from Everson are captured, and they're put into the auction where their magic is suppressed. They cannot practice magic, and they are going to get auctioned off to like higher ups in the Bomardi like structure on that side, so they can be used as what is the term? Heart springs. So, important to note, heart springs. So if you practice heart magic, you can like bond with, usually it's your like romantic partner, and then you can share your magic and like boost each other's magic. So heart springs can boost each other. And there's also this thing called sacral magic, and there's like a sexual component to that of like, if you it has to be like willingly given sex though. And that's like a key part of this as well. There's an elixir that's like going to make them be willing. So that, because that's like an additional more power for the person that's using them. So there's like the base level, which is heart springs. Then you can like boost that even more with sacral magic, which is like a sexual thing. People that practice heart magic often have familiars, which are another way that they like boost their magic. So those are like animals and things of the sort that like give them more power. And Mallow, is that her name? All of a sudden I'm like Marshmallow? Yeah, it is Mallow. She is the like Voldemort character. She is bonded to the last dragon, which is a big deal. It gives her like extra power. And she's the one that like started this whole thing and killed Rory. So that was a very like, it was kind of confusing for me to explain, but it was kind of confusing for me to like understand the magic at first. It's simple and that it's just magic, but like the setup is it does take a minute to get to that in the book. So I'm sorry, I don't know that I explained it very well, but I feel like I had to like give you the base setup. Otherwise nothing I say is going to make sense in the future. So that's where I'm at now. We're still getting some like flashbacks to them at school, but Brioni just got sold at the auction to a man named Raven, and there was a bidding war between Raven and Tobin. Raven won, so he has now purchased her at the auction. And that is where we're at right now. So I'm gonna keep reading. I am about 120 pages in. So I'll update you when something happens next.
You got to let it go.
Okay, I'm watching Cult Flav, which is my favorite like YouTube food people right now. Nathan's here. He's doing laundry, and I'm gonna read. We just watched 17 again. So good. I'm probably like 70% through Rose and Chains. I'm on chapter 33, and I know that this is a trilogy. Let me pause this while I know that this is going to be a trilogy, which is like so disappointing because I know it's going to end on a huge like cliffhanger, and obviously I've read the fan fiction that it's based on, so I like know what's going to happen next, but it's still so like I want to have the whole story at once, but I'm gonna have to wait another year for book 2 and then another year for book 3, which is like horrible. So currently Brioni and Tobin have been to the first of these like parties that happen at one of the castles, and these are like sex parties, but there's also like fighting. These are like where all of the Brumbardi go, like the elite go with their like lots or the people that they bought, and they like use them as heart springs to like power them up during battle, and they like show off their heart springs. And so they went to the first one, and Brioni wants to go back because that's the only way she can like find out information about her friends and like how they're doing, but Tobin does not want to take her back because he loves her. So anyway, that's what's happening. And I don't know how this is gonna end. Like, I think they're gonna go back to another party. Like, is that gonna be the end of this book? I'm not sure. It feels like, where is this gonna wrap up in a way that then, obviously it's gonna be a cliffhanger either way, but how is it gonna go? Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading and I'll keep you updated.
Trying to find a dun 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 sound effect.
What?
Because there was part of your video where you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and I was gonna be like, dun dun dun. I couldn't find it.
Oh.
You also like that guy that gets stoned, right?
What?
The guy that gets stoned and bakes?
Welcome back to Bake Baking.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah, I've only watched that one with you where he made something.
Yeah.
What did he make? We watched one. It was funny though.
Yeah, I watch his videos come up on my favorite bitch every day. He's also doesn't wear pants. When he turns around, he's just got his apron and no pants.
Like nothing?
No, he's got underwear on.
Oh, okay.
Welcome back to Bake Baking, where we bake something while baked.
Some like tips for the thing that is tricky about
about this for whatever. Most of them are not that complex.
Wow, baby.
Pretty great balance.
I'm ready to let go, go. I'm ready to let go. You, I'm ready to let go, go. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go, go. I'm ready to.
Alexa, living room, light, soft white.
Alexa, living room light, warm white.
Okay.
That's better. We're on page 343. And they've now been to 2 parties, and both were not great. So now they're practicing, which I just eat that up. I'm obsessed with Tobin. Like, I think that's how you say his name. How would you say Toven? Tobin?
Toven?
Yeah.
Tobin.
Tobin? Okay. And Briony? Briony? Briony?
B-R-I-O-N. B-R-I-O-N.
Y. Let me see if that's how it's spelled actually. Briony. Here.
Is it,
Briony?
yeah. Or Briny? There's like a British name.
Oh, I don't know it. They all have like, I mean, some of them are normal, like Larissa, but like Tobin and Briony.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's also Aurori, which is normal. Cordelia, Sammy, Didion.
Didion.
Like, we can pick normal names.
We can.
Although Briony is this is based on, this is a fan fiction that was then published as a book, a Germani fan fiction, and so, but obviously because J.K. Rowling owns like the characters in the world or whatever, they have to change everything. So everyone has new names. The magic system's totally different. Like Voldemort is a woman named Mallow, like Marshmallow. But Briony is Hermione, so I'm like, are we just picking a weird name because
Hermione.
it's Hermione?
Briny or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see what this one thinks.
Bryony.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Tobin is Draco. So I'm like, we gave them weird names because they have weird names in the fan fiction.
Yeah.
But Didion is like Ron.
Oh no.
And Rory is Harry, but in this book, Rory and Briony are twins. They're brother and sister.
Oh, weird.
So it's a little different, but
Yeah.
You got to let it go.
for Justin?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You got it, sir. We have a really special plan for you at the Coa Beach Club. For the rest of you,
Dinner and night swim date.
see y'all. Crazy.
Okay, guys. I finished Rose in Chains. And I knew this was going to be 5 stars before I even started this, so it's no question. It did end with, I don't know, it felt like an unnatural stopping point. That's my only critique. Obviously, because I'm used to reading it as a full story, I was wondering where the end was going to be, and I told you that last night, but it felt kind of unnatural. It ended just after she they do this ritual to take away her virginity so that the like Raven, who I maybe mentioned, when he comes, it'll look like she is not a virgin anymore, and Tobin has been like using her as a heartspring and using her for sacral magic. And so they do this like ritual, and then when Raven comes to check, they also check to see if she was fully like spayed. What's like if she's really
Neutered?
no, like anyway,
A virgin?
no, the nurse
You
at the
lost
beginning was like supposed to like cut both of her fallopian tubes so she couldn't get pregnant, but the nurse only cut one, and so she could still have children. And they also want to make sure that she actually can't have kids because they don't want her to get pregnant. They don't want there to be another person in line for the throne, because she's the princess. If she has a kid, then her son would be like there. So they do all that, but of course it comes out that she could still have kids, because the nurse only like severed one side. And so then this whole fight breaks out, and Serena, Tobin's mom, she basically like stops them from correcting their mistake. And then a fight breaks out. Brioni ends up killing someone. This is her first time using Heartstop, which is like their like Avada Kedavra situation.
Sterilized.
That is what I was talking about.
Not spayed.
Well, I could only think of it in animal terms. I was like spayed, neutered, like what was I trying to I could not think of the word.
Sterilized.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. She wasn't sterilized. And anyway, so a fight breaks out, and they have to like alter Raven's memories to make him think that they did sterilize her. And Tobin like comforts her after she's like has a freak out about killing this person. And they kiss. This is their first kiss. And then
crazy.
Mallow comes to like read her mind because she wants to make sure that like she's like looking for something. So in doing that, while Mallow's like looking through her mind, Brioni starts to think, oh, maybe Rory is still alive, like maybe he didn't die. And so that's how the book ends, is she's talking to Tobin and she's like, I'm convinced more and more every day that Rory is still alive. And then she's like, are you going to help me or not? And that's how it ends. So it's like, how do you split up something that was all one book into 3 books in a trilogy? I don't know. Obviously, I think it was done as good as it could have been done. But it felt a little stilted to me. And there was an epilogue where we see that this is like fully spoilers. If you don't want me to spoil everything, then just skip ahead 30 seconds. But where we see that Rory actually is still alive. So that is very different from the fan fiction, in that Rory, aka Harry, dies, and there's like, he's dead for sure, but in this he's still alive. And we see him in the epilogue. So that's that. Now I'm going to start The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. As you saw, I'm watching Bachelor in Paradise. Kate's here, Catherine's here. We're gonna make homemade Pop-Tarts, and we're gonna make pasta for dinner, and we're just gonna hang out. And it's gonna be a good night. Look at Kate's little toe beans. cutie. She's loving getting brushed by Catherine. She's lost some hair for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna start this. I probably won't read a ton just because I'm also watching Bachelor in Paradise, but we're just gonna see what I can get through. We're gonna take off the dust jacket. Put that over there. And look, there's like a inner cover. It's pink and black. Also, Bridget Knightley is definitely a like pen name because the author photo is an illustrated photo. Like, I don't know who this actually is. Maybe her name is Bridget Knightley and she just doesn't want her face. Oh wait, it says this is her debut. Interesting. So maybe, I don't know. Obviously, her name on AO3 was It's Self-Care. This is what she has chosen to go by. Whether that's her real name or not, we'll never know. Maybe we will, but... And the little tagline on the front says, the best love stories begin with hate at first sight. I'm so excited for this. The fanfiction is told exclusively from Draco's point of view, so I'm curious if this is going to be told from like the man's point of view. Osric is his name. Loyalties are tested in this slow burn enemies to lovers romantasy following an assassin and a healer forced to work together to cure a fatal disease while resisting the urge to kill each other or worse, fall in love. Anyway, very excited about it. I'm wondering if it's going to be told from Osrin's point of view or not. But let's get into it. Also, the dedication. Obsessed. So that's all. We're gonna read now. Hey guys. Welcome back. It is Sunday. Last I talked to you, I believe, was Friday night. So I did do a little reading yesterday, but like I said on Friday, my friend was in town, so we hung out most of the day and I didn't get as much reading as I normally would get done, but I am on page 90, which let's see what percent that puts me at. 25%. So a little quarter of the way through update. This is definitely very different from Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal. Different in that it's not just the names and the magic system changed, which is how Rose and Change kind of was. Like, there were certain things that felt very like it was like taken from and put in the other, like with names changed. But this is like almost a completely different story, like the same general gist of like enemies to lovers. She's a healer and he's like he's not an Auror, but he's like an assassin, and they have to work together, but they don't really want to. So that's kind of how Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal is set up, and it's how this one is set up. But aside from that, it's very different. The magic system is interesting. They call it Seath, and you channel it through these like tattoo things that are on your palms, and that's how you channel your magic. They also, instead of like apparition or like in Rose and Chains, they used portals. They travel on like ley lines at wardstones. So they don't just like magically appear in different places. Like they have to go to a wardstone and travel on the ley lines. And it's just different. It's not bad. I'm actually really enjoying it. And I think in Rose in Chains, I was very much like expecting it to be a certain way. And so I was constantly comparing, whereas this, because it's different enough where like I can recognize the general themes, but I'm not constantly like, oh, this is when this happens and this is when this happens, because it's not even the same like timeline really. So I appreciate that. I'm not in my head directly comparing, which makes me get out of my head a little bit more. Whereas in Rose in Chains, I was like very in my head about what was what. Not that I didn't enjoy it, I still really enjoyed it, but this is just a different experience. So those are my initial thoughts. I'm going to sit down and continue reading. My friend has now headed home. It's around 1:30 on Sunday afternoon, so we'll see how much I can read. I might go on a first date tonight, possibly 2 first dates, which would be very overwhelming for me. But we'll see what develops there. For now, we're gonna sit and read. I've changed my sheets, I've got laundry going, and it's gonna be a good afternoon. Also, I got these Adidas shorts, which I have been like wanting some like this, and I was at Nordstrom Rack yesterday and these were like 20 bucks, so I got some. I know it's nothing crazy, but like for some reason I'm just like loving this like nostalgic like basketball or soccer short vibe. So I just wanted to show you my new shorts because I did some shopping yesterday. I also got some new jeans that are good American, and I also got a dress. So we had a successful shopping day yesterday. I wasn't really looking for anything and I didn't really want to spend money, but then it's like, how can you pass up the deals sometimes? You can't. So just needed to let you know, like, I'm not usually a Nordstrom Rack girl, but sometimes you can't say no, even though you didn't plan on spending that money. So we've got to be saving for the rest of the month. But that's all.
Got to let it go. You got to let it go.
Okay. This is my like 75-80% update for the Irresistible Urge. I thought I was closer to the end than I was. I'm now 72% through. But updates. The two of them, Osric and Orion, are working together to infiltrate this Lord Wellesley's or whatever keep, because someone broke into the like castle or palace where Orion and all the healers live, and they think he's connected to it somehow, so they're there to try and like investigate They're still working on their like side quest to heal Osric. They are doing this by like going to these like specific like places where lots of ley lines intersect on full moons to try and like heal him. They're following the old ways, which are like not traditionally followed, but they're trying because basically his prognosis is you're going to die. And so he was like, well, if I'm gonna die, let's try something silly and stupid and see if it works. So that's kind of what they're doing to heal him. And I don't know if I mentioned, he has Seath rot, which the Seath is their magic. So his like magic system is like rotting, and it will eventually kill him in the next like few months, supposedly. So that's happening on one part, and then the other part is them trying to figure out why these people like invaded the healer like stronghold. So there's two different kind of like quests happening, and right now we're at Lord Wellesley's like keep to see if and why he was involved. So it's giving like one bed a little. There is like a cot, but I'm feeling like neither of them are going to sleep on the cot and they're going to share a bed. At least I'm hoping they are. So that's what's happening. I probably won't update you until I'm done, but wanted to give you one final overview of what's going on. So, hey team. So, it is Tuesday. I talked to you last night, and I finished The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. Or my enemy. Your enemy. So, I, of course, gave this 5 stars. I loved it. It was hilarious. Now, I'm gonna tell you that the like content warning here at the beginning does apply. The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy is an enemies to lovers romantasy featuring an assassin and a healer. It contains elements that may not be suitable for all readers, including graphic violence, yes, on-page torture, yes, on-page deaths of minor characters, swearing, brief sexual content, medical content including fictional diseases affecting adults and children, and depictions of sick children in a hospital-like setting. Please read with care. So, it is quite gory and bloody, but it's also done in a like hilarious way, if that makes sense. Like, definitely if that's going to be like weird or if it's going to gross you out, then heed that. But to me, it was done in a funny way. So I really thought this was well done. This is Bridget Knightley's debut, and I can't wait for book 2 in this series. And also, like, if she does anything else, I will be eating it up, just because this was literally like it's so funny. And you do get both Osric and Orion's perspective, but of course Osric's perspective is, I think, better. And I usually don't love to see a man's perspective, honestly, but this was so well done. So with that being said, we have finished reading our new releases slash fanfiction turned traditional published books. So both 5 stars, both amazing. I think even if you don't read fanfiction or Hermione, they're still great books. Like, I think they're well written, the stories are fully developed, and the magic systems are unique and interesting. So all that to say, check these out if you are at all compelled to do so. And thank you so much for watching this video. This was a little bit of an impromptu video, like, topic. I wasn't planning on filming it, obviously, but I had fun. I hope you had fun. I wanted to read these books, so that's what we did. I will see you somewhere else on the internet, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.